question is, why look at the pictures? The answer is simple. I cherish the memories of fallen comrades and those who survived. Check out the backpack, ammo, and the weapon. I once carried a home like that on my back. I once protected my life and those of my friends with that little black fire stick. Friend, I grew old in 18 months in Vietnam.
When I arrived in Vietnam on December 23, 1968, it was warm but not humid as my prior duty station in Okinawa. My former unit, the 3rd Special Forces Group, turned out to be a party compared to what I was about to experience during the next 14 months. Young and kind of crazy, I extended my duty, but much to my chagrin, I hand-carried home a few Purple Hearts. So the 18 months turned out to be just a baker's dozen plus one. Wow, I volunteered for this. My mark is now Red Company K, 75th Rangers, Airborne, along with 4 other Americans plus a great guy we call Yard. We had 4 great yards who couldn't wait for a mission so they could collect $24 in MPC. Company K lost a few good men during my 14 months. I was fortunate.
End of the world. Be you so unlucky as to be sent by your friends and neighbors to such a desolate place at a time so young in your life?
Simple. I see so many faces of tired boys. I imagine their hearts like worn baseball gloves, holding on to detonating emotions, held against the chest. Maybe to save a buddy. Maybe to save themselves from the hell of coming home to spit and venom. The soldiers who served had no part in the fall of the Republic of Vietnam. We were young. We were scared. We were lonely. We were dirty, leech-infested, crying, bleeding, dying, and yes, killing. It was war, and that's not a pretty sight. But we remained defiant and proud. I refuse to bow my head to the politicians who betrayed us and the Vietnamese people. We have walked the hard road. I choose to remember. Those who served deserve that reflection. Those who took the other fork in the road will never understand.
My brother, S.A.D. My brother left right out of high school to Nam. When he came back, things were never the same for him. He was very depressed on antidepressant drugs. At the age of 39, he killed himself on those drugs. I miss you, Stephen Allen. Your little sister, Susie.
What did I get out of Vietnam? I tell you what I got. Shot. Martyred. Oh, and a nice panic disorder which I suffer to this day.
What U.S. soldiers went through in Vietnam is not and never should be taken into consideration as to why the U.S. lost the war. No reasonable person doubts their hardships. The war was lost because the U.S. troops had nothing to fight for, nothing to win. The Vietnamese people did. It was another instance of one mass of poor people killing another mass of poor people so the rich people could get richer. LBJ and the American corporations got rich off this war. Poor people on both sides fought it. The average American citizen gained not one damn thing.
Let's think about this one for a second. Let's see. A person gets a draft notice. He is forced or willing to go to Vietnam because his country tells him to. It's not a matter of if the government has the right to do this, but of having to go anyway. This person trudges through the jungles of Asia, bitten by bugs, blazing heat, soaking rain. America hates him, taking sniper fire, stepping on mines and booby traps, downtime, drugs, orders his friends to die, loses a leg. He misses his girlfriend. He wants to go home. Who's his enemy? They all look the same. He's there to do a job. The old man in the field looks innocent enough. But is he VC or not? There's ammunition hidden in the thatched roof of his hut. Who's his friend? Foe. Martyrs, rounds, bombs, napalm, limbs, blood every fucking day. Monotony, fear, doubt, Will I die today? Now sit there and tell me that war is rational.
How can you possibly know what went on in Nam? Did you leave good buddies behind in body bags? I doubt it.
It's been 30 years, and there isn't a day since that I don't think about it.
What a waste. Raymond Albert Hensley was only 19 years old. He was programming computers for Bankers Trust. He had a chance to go to college. But fate being what it is, he was called for his turn. Instead of going to college, he went to war, flying over a country he hated. He was a sergeant. He was a door gunner on a helicopter, doing something he would have rather skipped in his life. I was only 3 years old when he died.
I would have voted for Uncle Ho. I would have voted for Ho Chi Minh. I was Viet Cong. I wanted my country together. When the peace was made at Geneva in 1954, it was promised that fair elections would be held and my country would be unified. This did not happen because of the United States intervention. I grew up resenting the United States. I now live in America. I've heard the Viet Cong referred to as dickless bastards and fucking slant eyes after the war by people who didn't realize I was one of them. Of course, one half of the first insult is true. I am female. The resentment is still there. Let me say this. I fought for a noble cause. The methods of the Viet Cong may have been unsavory at times, but so were the methods of the Republicans and the Americans. Need I mention My Lai? I have killed. Yet I could just as easily have been killed. To say that either side was inherently good or evil is wrong. We both did what we felt necessary at the time. For many people in Vietnam and in the United States, the war continues every day of their lives. It is fought with their minds and with their hearts. Let us end it now. Until this can happen, our whole country is a prisoner of war, a victim. It is time for us to stop being the victims and become the victors.
Thanks from the next generation. From the 58,000 killed in action to the hundreds of thousands who served and those who were wounded, all honor to their names. I was in diapers for part of the war, but the respect and thanks I feel toward Vietnam veterans cannot be put into words. I have bitterness for many of the protesters who, when the draft calls dwindled in the early 1970s, suddenly disappeared and forgot about the war. I feel many claimed that the war was immoral, but actually just did not feel like going. Many just cared about themselves, not morality. I feel America had a contract with those who fought. Serve your country, and the country will serve you. But the contract was broken. Wounded veterans returned from Vietnam and saw those who stayed had advanced their jobs, had cars and houses. They could brag about their actions, while many veterans were forced to feel ashamed. I have noticed times have changed for the better, and I am glad.
Teenage rebellion without understanding the damage. I am now 46 years old, married to a Vietnam vet suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder. As I look back at my involvement in the anti-war movement, one reality strikes me. That I used the whole give peace a chance mindset as nothing more than a platform to be different from the older generation. It was basically a game, a part to act out. A means of teenage rebellion. I never really gave that much thought to our young men battling in the jungles of Vietnam. In spite of the fact that we were supposedly desiring social change, what we were really doing was trying to grow up in an era of unrest and uncertainty, during an age where the values and morals of our parents and grandparents were being rejected. Perhaps many of the young people really understood what they were protesting. I did not. To all of you who fought for what was noble, the belief that you were protecting your homeland and freedom, I thank you. It will never be enough. It will always be too late. But I thank you. All in the eyes. The eyes of the children tell more than the surroundings they are in. I see eyes that do not understand. Eyes filled with terror and wonder. The eyes are the gateway to the soul.
When we speak of trusting, you must remember that these children who fought and played a role in the war trusted the adults who told them they must do such things. Imagine being told as a child that you could be a hero, save your country if you participated in a simple game. To us children, the war was a game. We had no concept of what our actions would lead to. We were doing what we were told was the right and honorable thing to do. You cannot blame children for the deaths of your soldiers, but you can blame the war that drove children to kill, or the American government which sent the soldiers in the first place.
Our survival is dependent upon never forgetting that Vietnam is not a word, a world, a love, a family, a fear to bury. Let people know Vietnam is not a war. Let people know Vietnam is not a war. Let people know Vietnam is not a war, but a piece of us, sister. And we are so much more.